Success isn't built in a moment. It isn't created by one lucky break, one burst of motivation, or one perfect day. Success is shaped, molded, and earned through consistency by showing up again and again, even when it's not convenient, even when it's not exciting, and especially when it's not easy. When you commit to consistency, you commit to becoming the kind of person who follows through, who grows through repetition, and who reaches the finish line because quitting is no longer an option. Every step you take toward your goals might look small on the surface, but consistency multiplies those steps. It turns effort into momentum, momentum into progress, and progress into results. The truth is that success doesn't chase talent, luck, or potential. It follows those who refuse to stop. It follows those who choose to keep going, even on the days when motivation disappears. Motivation may spark the beginning, but consistency guarantees the outcome. Consistency is powerful because it transforms ordinary actions into extraordinary results. It's the daily discipline of choosing growth over comfort, effort over excuses, and commitment over distraction. You don't need to be the best when you start. You don't need to have everything figured out. You only need to keep showing up, doing the work, and trusting the process. Over time, consistency turns into skill, skill turns into confidence, and confidence turns into achievement. The world rewards those who can stay steady when others stop. Most people give up after the excitement fades, but the ones who succeed are the ones who understand that progress is built in the quiet, repetitive moments. It's built in the early mornings, the late nights, the small practices, the tiny improvements that no one else sees. Consistency thrives in the unseen. It builds your character, sharpens your discipline, and strengthens your resilience long before the results become visible. Success doesn't arrive all at once. It arrives in layers. It arrives in seasons. It arrives after countless days where nothing seems to be changing until suddenly everything does. And that shift, that breakthrough, only comes because you stayed consistent long enough for your efforts to stack, to strengthen, and to transform into something real. You have the power to create that transformation in your own life. Not by waiting for the perfect moment, but by choosing to act in the present moment. Not by demanding immediate results, but by trusting in gradual progress. Not by relying on motivation, but by building the discipline to remain committed. Consistency is not glamorous, but it is undefeated. It has built champions, leaders, creators, innovators, and anyone who has ever accomplished something meaningful. When you commit to consistency, you commit to your future self. You declare that your goals matter more than your temporary feelings. You declare that your growth matters more than your comfort. You declare that your vision is worth showing up for again and again, no matter what. Success will follow you when you become the person who refuses to stop. When you show up daily, when you improve steadily, when you persist relentlessly, when you decide that consistency is not something you do, it's who you are. You don't have to jump forward in giant leaps. You only need to step forward consistently, and step by step, day by day, effort by effort, success will have no choice but to meet you where you stand, because consistency always wins. Consistency builds momentum in a way that nothing else can. It's not the intensity of your effort on one day that shapes your future, but the commitment to keep moving forward day after day, step after step, even when progress feels invisible. Momentum is something you earn through repetition, through showing up when you don't feel like it, through doing the simple things that seem too small to matter, until they compound into something powerful. Consistency is the quiet engine behind every achievement, the force that slowly gathers strength until it becomes unstoppable. Momentum doesn't begin with a dramatic moment. It begins with a decision to start, a decision to continue, a decision to return even after setbacks. The first days often feel slow, and the results may feel almost non-existent. But consistency is like a snowball rolling down a hill. Small at first, but with every turn it grows, picks up speed, and builds its own force. That force is momentum. Once momentum is on your side, what once felt difficult begins to feel natural, what once felt overwhelming becomes manageable, and what once felt impossible becomes within reach. But momentum only becomes real when you're willing to push through the early friction. The first steps are always the hardest because you haven't built the habit yet. Your mind resists, your emotions fluctuate, and your old patterns try to pull you back into comfort. But every day you choose consistency, you strengthen your ability to override that resistance. Every repetition makes the next repetition easier. Every action reinforces the belief that you can continue. And slowly, the effort that once required discipline begins to flow with ease. Consistency builds momentum because it removes the constant need to restart. Most people never experience momentum because they stop too often. They start strong, pause, lose rhythm, and then become discouraged because the progress they expected never arrives. When you stop repeatedly, you never build enough traction for your efforts to accelerate. But when you stay consistent, even at a slow pace, you maintain your direction, your rhythm, and your progress. You no longer waste energy rebuilding what you already started. You simply keep climbing. Momentum changes your mindset as well. When you begin to see small improvements, your confidence grows. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to believe in your ability to stay committed. And that belief fuels even more action. Consistency becomes easier because your identity shifts from someone who tries to someone who follows through. You stop questioning whether you can because you have repeatedly proven that you will. That internal shift is the moment where momentum takes hold, turning discipline into habit and habit into a natural part of who you are. There is a unique power in small, repeated steps because they are sustainable. Anyone can push hard for one day, but consistency allows you to push at a pace that you can maintain. And what is sustainable becomes unstoppable. A little progress daily is far more valuable than bursts of intensity followed by long periods of inactivity. The mind grows through repetition. The body strengthens through repetition, and your skills sharpen through repetition. It's the compounding effect of consistent effort that creates transformation. Momentum also protects you from doubt. When you have built steady progress, you can look back and see the trail of your efforts. You can see how far you've come. That evidence gives you strength on the days when your energy is low or your motivation wavers. Momentum becomes a cushion that carries you through the moments when you feel uncertain. It keeps you moving even when your emotions fluctuate. Once you have momentum, stopping becomes harder than continuing because your mind and body have adjusted to forward movement. Consistency builds momentum by creating clarity. When you show up every day, your goals remain alive in your mind. You stay connected to your purpose. You don't lose focus because your actions constantly reinforce what matters. The more consistent you are, the easier it becomes to stay aligned with your direction. You eliminate confusion because your behavior matches your intentions. That alignment strengthens your momentum and keeps you moving with purpose. Momentum also brings a shift in results. In the beginning, progress looks slow because you're laying the foundation. But once momentum builds, progress accelerates. Skills improve faster. Habits become stronger. Opportunities appear more frequently. What once took great effort becomes easier. What once took days takes hours. What once intimidated you becomes something you can handle with confidence. Momentum amplifies your abilities and expands your capacity. But the most important truth is this: momentum is not something you wait for. It's something you create. You build it through discipline, patience, and persistence. You build it by refusing to quit. You build it by honoring your commitments even when no one is watching. And once you have it, momentum becomes one of the most powerful forces in your life. It carries you farther than talent alone ever could. It pushes you beyond what you once believed you were capable of. It turns effort into progress and progress into transformation. Consistency is the key that unlocks momentum, and momentum is the force that brings you success. When those two work together, nothing can stop you. Success rewards discipline over motivation because motivation is temporary, unpredictable, and often influenced by mood, environment, or circumstances, while discipline is steady, dependable, and built through deliberate choice. Motivation feels good, but it cannot be trusted. It comes in waves, rising when everything is exciting and disappearing the moment things become difficult. Discipline, however, is the force that keeps you moving long after motivation fades. It's the internal structure that turns intentions into actions and actions into results. When you understand that success follows discipline, you stop waiting to feel ready and start acting with purpose. Discipline is powerful because it doesn't rely on emotion. It relies on commitment. It doesn't ask if you feel like doing the work. It simply asks whether you are willing to honor the promise you made to yourself. And every time you choose discipline, you strengthen your identity as someone who follows through. That identity becomes the foundation for your habits, your growth, and ultimately your success. While motivation may open the door, discipline is what keeps you walking through it day after day. Motivation is great for getting you started, but it cannot carry you through the long, challenging, and unglamorous parts of the journey. When the excitement fades, when the outcome feels far away, when the obstacles appear larger than the goal, discipline becomes your greatest advantage. It doesn't react to difficulty, it responds with action. It doesn't crumble under pressure, it becomes sharper. It doesn't give you permission to quit just because the process feels slow. It grounds you, stabilizes you, and pushes you forward even in uncertainty. Success rewards those who act consistently, not those who act occasionally, and consistency is only possible when discipline leads your decisions. If you rely on motivation, your effort will be inconsistent and your results unpredictable. But if you rely on discipline, your actions become steady, your habits become strong, and your progress becomes inevitable. Discipline builds a foundation so solid that even when life becomes chaotic, your commitment doesn't collapse. It remains intact because it comes from a deeper place than how you feel. It comes from who you decide to be. Discipline is often uncomfortable, but it is in that discomfort that growth is born. There's a certain strength found in doing things you don't want to do simply because you know they matter. Every time you push through resistance, you build mental toughness. Every time you complete a task despite feeling unmotivated, you reinforce your resilience. These moments accumulate, forming layers of strength that motivation alone could never provide. Success becomes a reflection of your discipline, not your enthusiasm. The truth is that high achievers are not always motivated. They simply choose not to depend on motivation. They understand that the path to success requires patience, repetition, and deliberate practice. They know that the work done when they least feel like doing it is often the work that drives them forward the most. They treat discipline as a non-negotiable part of who they are, not something they turn on and off when convenient. This mindset separates those who dream from those who accomplish, those who try from those who succeed. Discipline also brings clarity. When you commit to consistent effort, your mind becomes focused, your goals stay sharp, and your priorities become easier to manage. You stop wasting time on things that don't align with your purpose. You stop chasing shortcuts or quick fixes. Discipline teaches you to think long-term, to embrace the process, and to value steady improvement over instant gratification. That mindset becomes one of your greatest tools for achieving success. What discipline offers that motivation cannot is reliability. Motivation might help you take the first step, but discipline ensures you keep taking steps even when the path feels long and the reward feels distant. Discipline teaches you that finishing something is more valuable than starting something. It shapes your habits, strengthens your character, and builds the consistency needed to reach results that others only wish for. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. Success rewards discipline because discipline creates the conditions for success to grow. It builds the structure, the habits, and the momentum needed to reach your goals. Motivation may feel inspiring, but discipline is what makes transformation real. When you choose discipline over motivation, you take control of your progress, your direction, and your potential. You stop waiting for the perfect feeling and start building the life you want, one committed action at a time. Progress is created in the quiet, unseen efforts, the moments no one celebrates, no one praises, and no one even notices. These are the moments that truly define your growth. They're not loud, dramatic, or glamorous. They don't come with applause or attention. They happen in silence, in the small choices you make when no one is watching, in the steady work you put in when the world is asleep, and in the decisions you follow through on long after the excitement has faded. Real progress lives in these hidden places where consistency meets patience and effort meets intention. Most people want the results, but overlook the quiet work required to earn them. They focus on the highlights without understanding the foundation. But every successful person, every strong habit, every meaningful achievement is built on layers of unnoticed effort. It's the early mornings where you push yourself. It's the late nights where you refuse to quit. It's the hours spent practicing, refining, failing, and trying again. These quiet moments accumulate, they stack, they compound, and over time they transform you in ways the world won't understand until the results finally appear. The truth is that progress rarely feels dramatic while it's happening. It feels small, slow, and sometimes even pointless. You might look in the mirror and see no difference. You might show up day after day with no visible reward. You might wonder if your effort is leading anywhere at all, but this is exactly how progress works. It grows underground before it grows above the surface. It strengthens in silence before it shines in success. The unseen effort is not wasted. It is the foundation that makes the visible results possible. These quiet efforts teach you discipline. They teach you resilience. They teach you commitment. They force you to rely on your purpose rather than praise, on your vision rather than validation. When there's no applause to motivate you, you learn to motivate yourself. When there's no recognition to fuel you, you learn to rely on your own drive. This internal strength is what carries you through the difficult seasons, the slow seasons, and the moments when quitting looks easier than continuing. Progress is built on the days you keep going simply because you said you would. In the quiet work, you gain something far more valuable than immediate results. You gain mastery. Mastery happens when repetition meets patience, when practice meets focus, when you commit to improvement even one tiny step at a time. These small, unseen steps sharpen your skills, enhance your abilities, and deepen your understanding. They prepare you for the moments when opportunity arrives. People may call you lucky, but your luck will simply be the result of thousands of unseen hours. There is also a freedom in working quietly. When you're not performing for approval, you're free to make mistakes, learn at your own pace, and grow without pressure. This environment allows you to develop genuinely rather than quickly. It's where you build habits that last. It's where you develop strength that doesn't shatter when life becomes challenging. Quiet effort builds real roots, roots strong enough to hold up the results you eventually achieve. Progress created in silence teaches you that growth is not an event, it's a process. It's not a straight line, it's a gradual climb. It's not something you stumble into, it's something you build with intention. And what you build silently becomes the strength you rely on publicly. Your silent work becomes your confidence. Your consistency becomes your momentum. Your dedication becomes the fuel that pushes you past those who only work when it's convenient or visible. One of the greatest gifts of quiet effort is that it shapes your identity. Every time you show up when no one notices, you tell yourself you are committed. Every time you practice when others rest, you tell yourself you are disciplined. Every time you choose effort over excuses, you tell yourself you are capable. These moments change the way you see yourself, and when you believe you are capable, disciplined, and consistent, your actions begin to reflect it. And when the results finally appear, and they will seem sudden to others, they will think your success happened overnight. But you will know the truth. You will know that your progress was built through countless small moments of commitment, through late nights and early mornings, through quiet hours of effort that no one saw, through the work that didn't look impressive but mattered more than anything else. Progress is created in the quiet, unseen efforts. It's born in the silence where no applause exists, no recognition is given, and no reward is visible. But it is in that silence where your future is being shaped. Keep showing up, keep working, keep building. Your silent efforts are not invisible. They are working for you, growing inside you, preparing you for everything you are meant to achieve. Commitment is the invisible force that determines the direction of your life long before the results ever show. It's the quiet decision you make with yourself, the promise you choose to honor even when no one is watching, and the inner agreement that says you will not back down just because the path becomes uncomfortable. Your future is not shaped by occasional effort or random bursts of motivation. It is shaped by what you repeatedly commit to day after day, choice after choice. When you commit to something, you give your future a blueprint. You tell your mind, your actions, and your energy where to go. You eliminate the noise of things that don't matter. You remove uncertainty not because the road becomes easier, but because your direction becomes clearer. Commitment cuts through distraction. It removes the temptation to quit. It gives you a reason to stay in the fight when your emotions beg for comfort. And it reminds you that the life you want cannot be built on half-hearted effort or inconsistent decisions. Commitment isn't about intensity. It isn't about doing everything perfectly. It isn't about forcing yourself to show up with the same level of motivation every single day. True commitment is about your willingness to continue even when your enthusiasm fades, even when progress feels slow, even when the challenges pile up. It's about being anchored to your purpose instead of being controlled by your feelings. Anyone can be committed when things go well. The real test is how committed you remain when they don't. Every meaningful achievement, every strong relationship, every powerful transformation is built on long-term commitment. Success favors the people who keep showing up, the people who do the work even on the days when their mind whispers excuses, the people who push a little further when stopping would be easier. Commitment transforms your habits, and your habits shape your destiny. If you want a different future, you don't start with hope. You start with commitment. Think about any goal that matters to you: a stronger mindset, a healthier body, a more successful career, a deeper level of self-growth. None of these come from occasional bursts of effort. They come from a sustained willingness to stay consistent, to adjust, to learn, and to keep going. Commitment is the glue that holds your progress together when motivation fails. It is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Without it, your goals remain dreams. With it, those dreams eventually become your reality. Commitment also builds identity. The more you stay faithful to your path, the more you begin to trust yourself. And that self-trust becomes power. You stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop shrinking when things get difficult. You stop doubting your potential because you have proof. Proof in the form of every small step, every daily action, every moment of discipline. Over time, commitment becomes who you are, not just something you do. Your future isn't determined by luck, talent, or circumstances. It's shaped by your choices, strengthened by your persistence, and fueled by your commitment. When you commit fully, not halfway, not when it's convenient, you create a future that aligns with your vision instead of your fears. You become unstoppable, not because the challenges disappear, but because you decide they will not break you. Commitment is the architect of your future. Build with intention. Build with consistency. Build with the level of dedication that tells life you are serious about your goals. Because the moment you choose unwavering commitment, you begin shaping a future that reflects the best version of you.